Bluff City Media presents the Two Buck Sports Show. Stepping up to the microphone are your hosts, Drew Gann and Rusty Witten. Now, let's get to the show.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to your Thursday lunchtime edition of the Two Buck Sports Show. I am your co-host, Rusty Buckets, coming to you live on this Thursday at 12 o'clock, God's time zone, with my guy, Drew Gann, Uncle Buck. What's happening today, sir? How are you?
What's going on? It is becoming beautiful outside here in North Mississippi and West Tennessee. I just can't get enough of it. I just walk around just strolling like an old person, you know, an old retiree at the park. You know, I'm just walking, trying to find as many reasons to walk around in nature as possible.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's one of the times I'm grateful for my job as a regional director, where I spend a lot of time in my truck going between offices and checking in. And I was out in the beautiful weather today with my windows down. Chris Stapleton turned up and just had quite the commute to Bartlett, Tennessee this morning. It was rather nice. It's been a nice day. So,
yeah,
but
I spent some time in Bartlett this weekend. I
You
got
did.
family out there.
That's right, you did. I forgot about that. Y'all had y'all's little family reunion up in Bartlett, huh?
If you go to a tire store, ask if they know me. I just can't remember the name of the tire store that they own. So close.
I'm going to start knocking on doors, just random tire shop. Do you know Drew Gann? And if they say yes, I'm going to say I'm sorry and then just leave.
Yeah.
But I do want to give a shout out. Speaking of knowing people, shout out to Ricky, Mr. Ricky in Memphis. Kind of had a cool moment. I was leaving one of my offices, and this guy's like, "Hey, you got a podcast?" And I was like, "Get out of here." He was like, "Yeah, you and Uncle Buck talk about the Grizzlies." I was like, "Get out of here." And super nice guy. Apparently he says he's in our comments giving us crap all the time. So Ricky, if you're watching, man, hop in, let us know you're here. Thanks for saying something. I appreciate you being here, man, for sure.
Yeah, and if you're going to comment, if you want to hang out with us and be a member of the show, come to YouTube. I know we've got different Twitter streams up, and we enjoy our listeners over there as well. But if you want to interact with us, come hang out in the comment section at YouTube. Wayno's already over here. So come talk trash to the Aussies over here in the YouTube comments.
And talk trash to us. But hey, we got to, once again, I say this every time, but last Tuesday we were wire to wire with info and talks and takes, and we got another one of those today. So we're not going to waste any time and dive right in.
All right. It's Thursday, and y'all know what that means. It is time for Rusty to give me some takes, and I'm going to tell them if those takes are real or counterfeit. So, Rusty, I believe these are NBA related, maybe some postseason award related. We may have talked beforehand, but I didn't do any research. This is all off the cuff. It's always right off the cuff with us. Yeah. So, Rusty, hit me with some scenarios, some takes, if you will.
Yeah, I thought we'd have a good opportunity for the two of us to debate who we think should win the NBA postseason award. So I'm going to queue up the favorite as real versus counterfeit, and then Uncle Buck and I will discuss and debate. If you're in the comments, let us know who you think should win these awards. So we're going to start with the most prestigious, the number one best player in the league, the NBA MVP award right now. One Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA of the Oklahoma City Thunder, is the odds-on favorite. These are all per ESPN Bet. That's who I use to do my sports gambling here in Tennessee. He is at minus 550, so he's a pretty heavy favorite.
Yeah.
Real or counterfeit, SGA is your NBA MVP.
Real, I believe it's going to happen. I believe it may even be unanimous. You know, he's got the benefit of Nikola Jokic being the second best odds, despite it's probably Nikola Jokic's best season ever.
Yes.
But he's got two or three?
He's
MVPs?
got two MVPs.
Yeah, and so their fatigue does set in with NBA voters and writers. So SGA is going to win this. He probably should win it, but statistically, Jokic is the best player that's ever walked the face of the earth this season.
I mean, just the other night, and I think it's counterfeit. To me, the MVP should be Nikola Jokic. I understand the fatigue. I understand that SGA is going to win. But just the other night, he had some goofy stat line where he had 16 points, 11 rebounds, and 19 assists. Now, some of the assists are a little bit that he'll pass and there's 4 dribbles and a layup, or he passed and there was 2 dribbles and a 3. But they were still 19 assists per the stat book. And so statistically, it's Nikola Jokic. Plus, Like Ja Morant the other night against the Phoenix Suns in that epic overtime game went 14 for 14 from the free throw line. And a lot of SGA and Thunder fans were in the mentions and on Twitter saying, oh, if SGA would do this, then the world would burn. Well, my brother
does that every game.
6 of his last 9 games, he's had 14 free throws. And Ja goes 14 to 14 one time. Like, there's a difference. Like, Ja actually gets fouled. He doesn't get half the calls. You breathe. I mean, Chris Finch from Minnesota stepped up the other night doing the Lord's work and said, you can't touch SGA without it being a call. Miss me with that. Jokic should be the MVP.
It just goes to show you that these officials are human as well. It's the same thing we talk about with baseball. Everybody wants to replace the umpires and take out the human element to this. And that may be an easy thing to do in Major League Baseball. It's impossible to do in the NBA. But it just goes to show you, once somebody gets the reputation, these humans have no choice. We have no way not to have bias or understand storylines, or, it's just, it is what it is. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, for whatever reason, to officials, he gets the call. He deserves the call. He gets hit more than anybody else if you ask them. And then the narrative just becomes the truth. And then with Ja Morant, he just doesn't get calls. And therefore, he's got to get hit harder, and that becomes how he's officiated. It's awful. It's stupid, and I resent SGA for it. But if the question is he going to win MVP? Yes. Unless he blows his knee out tomorrow, he is going to win MVP.
Agreed. Even though we are waiting on a 20-20-20 from the Joker, and I think it's going to happen at some point, just because he is a stats machine, man. Stats machine. So,
and I believe, real quick, I think I would only make this argument for MVP, but MVP should not be given out until after the playoffs.
Agreed. I agree with that 100%, because if you're an MVP of the regular season, congratulations. It doesn't matter if you're not playing for a title.
Yeah, well, I think we all regret James Harden getting an MVP trophy.
Absolutely, because he's the reason we have SGA foul hunting and baiting like we have now. Yeah. But anyway, I digress. Rookie of the Year odds. This will be interesting. So, Rookie of the Year, per ESPN Bets, Stephon Castle is a -115 as your odds-on favorite. Real or counterfeit, Stephon Castle is your Rookie of the Year.
Listen, this is a Grizzlies podcast. Yeah. You know what this engine's going to be. It's absolutely 100% counterfeit. It's a counterfeit $1 bill. Like, it's not even a good, there is no reason why Stephon Castle should be considered the favorite for Rookie of the Year. He plays on a worse team. He's now coming off the bench, and he just does not have the impact that Jaylen Wells does. This is it's a narrative-based thing. They are pushing Stephon Castle because he does have a more likely shot of becoming an NBA superstar, and it pads the resume for that he can be billed accordingly. He plays with Wemby. They want to put him on a ton of national television games, and it looks good when you've got the last 2 rookies of the year, one of which is Victor Wembanyama, who will be a multiple-time MVP and probably NBA champion. You want to pad the stats for the guys around him too. Yep. And they're doing it at the expense of Jaylen Wells, who is on a team that's currently, I believe, tied for second in the West. He started virtually every single game, been extremely healthy, and is guarding the other team's best player every single night. It's asinine to think otherwise.
What's going to help, and we're going to talk Jaylen Wells at length in a few minutes. So I agree. Like, Stephon Castle coming off the bench, he's not even starting for his own team anymore, is definitely a knock against him. It does feel narrative driven. Like, Jaylen Wells is playing incredible basketball for a rookie. We'll talk about that more here in a minute. But like you said, he's on a winning basketball team, and he's doing winning things that will never show up in a stat sheet. The other night, he got that big dunk in overtime, and before he hit the ground was looking for Bradley Beal to lock him up full court. Like, he doesn't ever slow down. Like, he's always focused. He's unrattled. Greer, thanks for being here. Wayno, everybody, thanks for being here in the comments that are here. I don't know that I wouldn't go as far as saying Jenkins is actively sabotaging Zach Edey, but I do think he's criminally mismanaging him. But that's a different conversation. Ooh. For our purposes today, I think it's counterfeit that Stephon Castle should be the Rookie of the Year. I believe one Jaylen Wells. And most people, if you watch it, we're going to get a lot of national television games coming up. We'll talk about that here in a bit as well. So he has a chance to make his case.
And Donovan Mitchell stamped him.
Big time.
So
Big time.
He said
And
he was part of the
he's not
game
the
plan
first.
as a rookie. That's a big deal.
That's a big deal. He's not the first star that said that. You know, Steph and other guys have been singing Jaylen's praises after getting handcuffed by Jaylen Wells. Next up, Defensive Player of the Year. Da, da, da. Yeah, shocker, right, DG? Right here on a Thursday, I am dropping breaking news. Defensive Player of the Year, your odds-on favorite at plus 110 per ESPN bet right now is Evan Mobley of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Real or counterfeit, that's your Defensive Player of the Year.
Well, if real is taking Evan Mobley and counterfeit is taking the field, I'm gonna be the homer. I'm gonna take the field. I'm gonna say counterfeit. I mean, it's really hard. You just watched them play against each other on national TV, and Jaren fouled out, I believe, and didn't have a good game, and Evan Mobley was really good. So he was at least severely limited because of foul trouble. And the last 5 to 7 games for Jaren Jackson Jr., you've seen a resurgence of this bad fouling habit that he's gotten. So he's going to have to snap out of it. I do believe Jaren is the better defender. Like you said, I think national TV games are going to matter a lot when you come to getting like public appeal for these votes. And so, yeah, I think I'm going to go counterfeit because I think Jaren Jackson Jr. will ultimately end up winning this award.
Agreed. I'm going to go counterfeit here as well. Jaren's got a lot of nationally televised games coming up. In the one they played against each other, it was unfortunate that Jaren had those 5 fouls and kind of struggled to be on the court. And Evan played well that night, including against Jaren, but Jaren had some good blocks in defense on Evan as well. Statistically, Evan played more, so naturally he had better stats. But I think if you look at it as a whole, like, I think, yeah, absolutely. This is Jaren and Mobley, Jaren and Wemby. Like, Jaren's got the opportunity to play against some great bigs.
And the Grizzlies and Cavaliers seem to have smoke every time they play each other these days.
They do, but it's like, it's a fun smoke too. Like, you know, Dylan Brooks starting it when he tried to wreck Spida, all that kind of stuff. But like, it's a fun. That'd be a great 7-game series.
When you're talking about when he deliberately punched him in the nuts.
Exactly. Exactly. But I think Evan Mobley would be a great defensive player of the year. But I'm going to take the field and go counterfeit and be a homer and say it's Jaren Jackson Jr. All right, 6th man of the year, another big award for the NBA. This is a fun award because this is that guy that's just like your glue guy, right? That comes off the bench. He's not the starter, but he comes in and the heater and can get you on a run. 6th man of the year, odds-on favorite at minus 190 is Peyton Pritchard of the Boston Celtics. Real or counterfeit? That's your 6th man of the year. It's hard to argue.
All right, what's the next best odds?
Plus 300.
Plus 3, and I'm guessing that is DeAndre Hunter?
No, he's at plus 650. Okay. It's a guy that you don't really think about, but like when I say his name, you're going to be like, yeah, he's having a massive, massive year.
Yeah. All right.
It's Malik Beasley. He's having a great year.
Yeah. I'm just because, I mean, you said you've got Peyton Pritchard. It's not going to be Malik Beasley because Detroit's record just isn't good enough. So I'll say that's real. As much as I hate to say it, like Peyton Pritchard, are we really going to give him an award? Like, is he that good? I mean, the dude is a half-court end of clock specialist, and he shoots threes. I don't want any part. I feel sick to my stomach for saying this because as the short white guy of the bunch, I really want Peyton Pritchard to win this, but like, it really just makes me sick. I don't want any part of Peyton Pritchard. He's a fraud, but he's going to win. It's real.
I mean, he can get off and go on a heater, man. And like, I think it's real too. I mean, Peyton Pritchard is going to win it. He's the odds-on favorite. He's on the best team in basketball. I'd love for it to be Santi Aldama. Ain't no doubt about it. I mean, Santi is at plus 7,500. He's been much higher than that earlier in the year before he turned his ankle. Malik Beasley probably feels better, like you said, but he's on a Pistons team that's making a surge. They're probably going to make the playoffs or be at least a play-in team.
Playoffs. Yeah.
But Peyton Pritchard's on the best team in basketball, and he continues to come in and fill it up. He hit a bunch of shots against us, and we played him earlier this year, and I think it's Peyton Pritchard's to lose, and I'm going to take that as real. Coach of the year, NBA Coach of the Year. Your odds-on favorite at minus 550 is one Kenny Atkinson in Cleveland. Kenny Atkinson is minus 550. The next closest odd is plus 500. Real or counterfeit, Kenny Atkinson is your Coach of the Year.
I think it's real. I mean, it's his first year in a job. The team was good last year, but JB couldn't get him over the hump. That was a good example of, when we talk about Taylor, like the only reason I can come up with that you would fire Taylor is kind of like what JB went through last year, where you just need to hear a different voice. And Atkinson came in there and just shattered the glass ceiling for them. And this is a regular season award. And so, yeah, I do think Kenny Atkinson is going to win, and I'll say it's real. But tell me, Rusty, is number 2 odds JB Bickerstaff?
It is. He's number 2 plus 500.
That's the first coach that came to my mind, because there's 2 frames of thought, I guess, when it comes to coach of the year. It's the team that made the biggest jump or the best team. You got to pick one. And the fact that Cleveland is head and shoulders the best team in the East, and I think 2 or 3, 4 games ahead of Oklahoma City in the West. Like, I think you do have to go to Atkinson there, especially since it's his first year. But JB should be a very close second. He's done an
amazing turnaround in Detroit. What they're doing there, Cade Cunningham is playing some of the best basketball I've seen in a long time, especially of his young career. Again, you've got to give a nod to Bickerstaff, former Grizzly coach for sure in Detroit, for the job he's doing. But it's Kenny Atkinson, man. He's really been he's killing it this year. Tied for third at plus 4,000 is Taylor Jenkins. So Taylor Jenkins, I got plus 4,000 on ESPN bet. Listen, nothing would tickle me more, DG. Are you listening? I hope y'all are sitting down. Than Taylor Jenkins to coach his butt off and win this award, because if he does, that means we had a hell of a back half of the season. I don't know that that's going to happen, but I would love to see TJ make a run for coach of the year.
Taylor Jenkins, Monty Williams should send that coach of the year trophy right back to Taylor Jenkins, where it belonged, for that year that he had.
Yeah.
Back, I guess that was
21, 22,
20, 21, I guess. Yeah. And because Taylor Jenkins is one of the best coaches in the NBA. He should not win coach of the year this year just because you've got those 2 guys who are just having outlier seasons. But he's an absolutely one of the
great
top
developmental coaches in the league.
Coaches in the league. 7 to 10 coaches in the league.
Definitely one of the best developmental coaches in the league. I'll admit that every single day. Every single day.
Can we talk about this real quick? If Jenkins is fired, you have to make Dan Hurley say no. That will never happen. You've got he is that type of coach is rarely going to work in the NBA anymore.
In the NBA, yeah.
Imagine Dan Hurley being 5'10", bald dude in his 50s, chewing jaw out. Like, that will never go well.
I'm the best coach in this sport. I'm the best coach in this sport. Like, Nick Saban was that hard-nosed guy at Alabama, and it flopped in Miami.
I mean, he's currently the 2-time reigning national champion coach in college basketball, and he is just absolutely mowing his players down in the media every single day.
Every single time, brother. He eviscerates them for sure.
It is never going to happen, and I don't want it to happen for our team.
Agreed. So, but speaking of the Grizzlies, that's our real versus counterfeit segment for the day. We got quite a few Grizzly topics to talk about, as it's been a full week and an even fuller weekend. All right, so we're back talking Memphis Grizzlies. We got a big win the other night against the Phoenix Suns, our first overtime game of the year. Made a great comeback. The game was back and forth all night long. It was ups and downs. Had some amazing Ja Morant moments. Jaren and Des set the table for Ja to win us the game late. That was our 12th double-digit comeback. But I would venture to say that one of our best players down the stretch is not your average rookie. That would be one Jaylen Wells. Was incredible in the fourth quarter and overtime, including Ja finding him on that great pass for the dunk that was the dagger with less than a minute to go in overtime that I mentioned earlier, who as soon as he landed, looked to find Bradley Beal, who had his best game of the year as well. Shocker, a guy comes out of his funk against the Grizzlies. But Jaylen was a great asset for us late, and it comes back to who needs to be our closing 3. Drew, we've talked about this at length recently with the resurgence of Vince Williams, who's kind of regressed a little bit. We've talked about it with Jaylen Wells. R3 is a position that has definitely been a hot topic. A lot of people are clamoring for us to make a trade, go get Cam Johnson, go get other people. I think I'm starting to come around to the belief that we might be able to trust a young rookie in the playoffs, in clutch minutes, and this is a big part of it. He's stoic. He's never shaken. Jaylen Wells is an incredible asset for us in the 3 slot. Now, he leads. Last thing I'll say, I know it's a long queue up.
Yes, it is.
But Jaylen Wells is leading the rookies he's top 5 in net rating. He is top 5 in minutes played. He leads the rookies with all wins at 38 that he has contributed to. Jaylen's a great rookie player. He's not your average rookie, Drew, and I think there's a strong case for him to be our small forward, our 3, starting and closing basketball games.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody would argue with you that he should not be considered the starting 3 in playoff games. I mean, he's been the starting 3 all season long. Ever since Marcus Smart came back or got injured the first time, Jaylen Wells has not lost his job as the shooting guard or the small forward on this team for the whole season. And he's seemingly gotten better as the games go on, which is hard to believe because we started the season extremely impressed with how he was doing. Mm-hmm. If you think about the other options, I've been pro Vince Williams in this scenario, mainly because of his defensive activity, how hard he plays, and how contagious that effort is. And I'll be honest, the last couple of games for Vince Williams has been a real tragic scene. He has not looked extremely well. And I don't know if it's just getting his sea legs back, trying to figure out what's going on. But even on the defensive end, he's kind of been a mess. And Jaylen has just continued to be steady, but also take a step forward. So I don't know. I mean, after that Phoenix game on Tuesday, it's hard for me to come in here and still stomp my foot and say that Vince Williams Jr. is the guy. I still lean that way, but I mean, Jaylen Wells has been nothing short of amazing. His performance against Phoenix was great. Clutch shots down the stretch. And, they forced the offense to go to Jaylen Wells. It was Jaylen Wells was going to win or lose this game for you. Jaylen Wells and Ja making threes. Honestly, they were going to let both of them take as many threes as they wanted. And Jaylen Wells held up. He did extremely well. He ran in the offense well. In the fourth quarter there, they set a screen for him. He hit a 3. And then the next possession, they set the pin down screen for him. And because he had just hit the 3, his defender was on his hip. So instead he curled it and got to the floater. It was just really smart, high IQ veteran basketball moves that Jaylen Wells is pulling off as a rookie. It's incredible.
It is. And 3 of the last 4 games, he has gone for double digits. He had 19 against Phoenix, 14 against Cleveland, and 17 against the Pacers. He's been inconsistent because he's a rookie. There's going to be moments where he's going to make some boneheaded plays, and that's where it's nice having a guy like Vince Williams Jr. on this team that can step in and do the things well. I love Wayno's in the comments talking about the Tony Allen role, and I love that role for him. But Jaylen can actually score. He's actually got a pretty good 3 ball and a decent mid-range shot. But Jaylen is so level-headed, and that's what you're going to need in playoff-type situations. Normally, rookies are very emotional. You see they get super high, super low. GG still kind of all over the place, like with his mentality. But Jaylen is always laser-focused, no matter the moment. And we've had a couple of playoff-like games in the last 2 games against Phoenix and against Cleveland, and he rose to the occasion in both of them and made better in plays.
It is funny. In the comments saying never too high, never too low. He honestly gives off like Jokic vibes. Like he acts like he's a dude who doesn't care one way or the other if he's playing or if he's not. He's so emotionless on a basketball court. It's nice, honestly, when you've got a superstar that is just over emoting, It's nice to see Jaylen Wells, the rookie, just kind of like, okay, I know this was a big dunk to put us up by 4 in overtime. When all we were trying to do was get fouled, and somehow I snuck open and dunked it and ended the game.
Yeah,
I'm still just going to
where's
go
Bradley
play
Beal?
defense. And
where's Bradley
worry
Beal?
About this later.
And it was cool, like Maggie and I are watching it, looking for like reactions after that, and everybody's high-fiving and cheering, and John's grittying, and Jaren's smiling coming off the bench. And they showed Jaylen, they panned to Jaylen, and it's just a little smirk. It's one corner of his mouth. It's just a little smirk. And it's like, there it is. It's very Kawhi-esque. Like, he has that Kawhi demeanor where it's just all business. I'm focused. I'm hooping. And then we'll have fun off the court, but it's a job out here.
It makes me more confident for him in the playoffs than probably anything else, because he's never been too small for the moment. You know, he's had games where he didn't make his shots, but he didn't let it affect him defensively. He said in an interview where he prepares as if he is the star of this team. And I don't think that's like an ego thing, or it's like, oh, I'm the best here. But as a rookie, he's putting in the work as if my time comes, I will not be too big for the moment. To quote the great Tony Allen, who keeps popping up in our comments, a week from today is the big day for the Tony Allen movie, by the way.
Yeah.
He says, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And I don't think anybody on this team embodies that as much or as impressively as the rookie Jaylen Wells.
Absolutely. I think we've got a strong case for him to be our starting three, our closing three. Again, he's gotten the stamp of approval from one Donovan Mitchell very vocally the other night. He said, like you said earlier, Drew, that a rookie was a part of their game plan. Steph has come out and said things about him. Russ has said things about him. Like guys who are elite level, respectable NBA players saying, hey, Jaylen Wells is going to be a problem for the Memphis Grizzlies. Is that validation for what he's been doing this year? I know rookies typically don't shine or step up in the playoffs, but I think we could have he's not your average rookie. He's 21 years old. He's got 4 years of college basketball under his belt. None of them are big, bright lights like the NBA playoffs. Right. But I think that experience and that stoicism is going to help him a lot in those big moments.
Well, and you look at what the streets have said about the Grizzlies in relation to Jaylen Wells. So, we were impressed by him to start the season. Okay, this is really nice. Okay, Marcus is back. It's his job. Marcus gets hurt. Okay, we put Jaylen Wells in, and he exceeds expectations. But from that point, it was always like, well, it's cute. He's doing really good for a rookie, but wait until Vince and Gigi come back. Well, now Vince and Gigi are back. He's still in the starting lineup, and he's playing better than both of them. Yeah. And so I do want to kind of take a minute to tell everybody how right I was about pumping the brakes on Gigi too, because boy, has he had a tough transition into basketball since he got back. Everybody said we won the trade deadline by getting Gigi, and I was like, let's pump the brakes a little bit. I felt like I was the only one. And trust me, I don't enjoy I wanted to be wrong, but yeah, we're getting the Gigi Jackson that is, he's looking like what he is, and he is what would have been one of the youngest players in this year's NBA draft. You know, despite the fact, doesn't matter that this is his second year. He reclassified to get to college early. He got him to the NBA early, and he's still.
There's still you see glimpses of it. There's still a lot of work to go there, but I do want this last thing I want to talk about.
Give me flowers unless I give myself. What is it Miley says? I can buy myself flowers. That's what Uncle Buck does. I don't get them from nobody else, but I can buy myself flowers.
Oh, boo-hoo. So Memphis is a unique team. This is from AOP_NBA on Twitter. Looking at percentage of minutes taken by rookies compared to net ratings. And so the positive net rating, the highest in the NBA right now, is the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're playing with their rookie minutes are less than 10%. The Cavaliers and Celtics are next at +11 and +10, and both of theirs are less than 5. And then in fourth place at a just over +6 net rating, playing 20% of our minutes with rookies, is the Memphis Grizzlies. So we are playing winning basketball with rookies, playing 20% of our minutes, and we have a positive net rating. So we're winning with rookies. For a couple other comparisons, the Brooklyn Nets have the least amount of their net -6 net rating and less than 5% rookies. They're old and bad. The Washington Wizards are at 35% of their minutes with rookies and a net negative rating of -13.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. There were two of those teams that were on this graph you're referring to that you're looking at. I'm sure. One team was like really bad with old players, and Washington was really bad with rookies. And I'm like, I don't know which team I'd least want to be. I think I'd rather be really bad with old players than really bad with all your rookies, Because
just for awareness, the only other teams with more rookie usage are the Toronto Raptors and the Washington Wizards. And Toronto is a -6 net rating. And again, Washington is -13. So we are playing a ton of rookies and playing positive winning basketball.
Yeah, one of those guys has a guy named Bub playing 30 minutes a game, and the other one has a guy named Dick. So I think it's pretty fitting.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fitting. So we got a lot of growth to do. We got a lot of guys growing up. Last thing I want to talk about with the Grizzlies before we transition to some weekend basketball for the Memphis Grizzlies and what we're doing is it came out today, Drew, that Gray Media is going to highlight 5 upcoming Grizzly games that we broadcast in Tennessee's 3 largest media networks free of charge. So they're going to broadcast the FanDuel game, the broadcast on, I guess, Action News 5 is who's reporting it. So I guess it's going to be your local news channel in Memphis, Nashville, and Knoxville. 5 games free of charge, no streaming cost.
Over the air.
Exactly.
Yeah, so if you're not familiar with that, over the air means you've got to go buy you an antenna. I did this in college. I lived in Starkville, and so I was close enough to get the major networks from Columbus or Tupelo, and it worked out great. Just put you up a little antenna in your window, and you can watch the Grizzlies free of charge. I think this is an amazing idea and something that I'm sure they're testing the waters out because of the tumultuous nature of what's going on with these regional sports networks and Bally Sports in particular. They're going bankrupt, or Bally went bankrupt, and now FanDuel took over, and nobody seems to really know what the future holds. And so for people, especially in Memphis, I think this should have been done anyways. The locals there should get the games on local TV. I'm super anti-blackout anyways. I've been on my Major League Baseball rants before about how they black out games in the cities in which the games are being played, which is by far the stupidest thing I've ever heard of in my life. I think this is how it should be. If you live in Memphis or the surrounding areas and get the Memphis news, then you should be able to watch the Grizzlies. And if it's over the air, then that's fine. That's great. I know, Lord knows, they're not going to put 82 Grizzlies games on NBC and have to have all the old people miss the blacklist or whatever is coming out. I don't know how you navigate that.
Agreed.
Over the air is great.
Agreed. Like, it needs to be somewhere. The NFL has figured it out. It's 1 game a week. I get that. It's different. It's only 16 a year that they play, or 18 a year, whatever they play now, that they broadcast every Sunday. The Grizzlies play a lot more than that. We're going to play 4 times in the next week. And so it's hard to justify that with all the dramas and sitcoms and TV shows that are on syndicated TV. But I put that up a minute ago when you were talking, but you should be able to pull it up with your smart TV. But I think that finding a way to have these games broadcast local for free for people who can't afford $120 a month streaming services, or more so to go to the games, is a great way to generate interest, get revenue, and then some of these fans may watch and then save up and get some of the cheaper tickets so that they can go and see the Grizzlies play in person. I think there's a ton of opportunity for growing the game in a way that makes it affordable for fans. It's all about money, and I get that the NBA is trying to make a ton. They're business for profit, and I understand. I run 8 of them. I get how it goes. But it just feels like a good win for local basketball fans. I don't care about Nashville and Knoxville. I don't care about them. But it's a good win for locals here in Memphis for sure.
I 100% agree. And the folks in Knoxville and Nashville, they don't deserve them anyways. So
they don't.
Just spread out the Memphis area to include North Mississippi. How about that?
Exactly. The Mid-South, right? Whatever Channel News 5, Action News 5's footprint is, the Mid-South, that's who it's good for.
Because I do get Action News 5 on my YouTube TV. And so if that's what they wanted to do, I would be 100% involved. Although I do believe that eventually it will be aired on Grind City Media. The Memphis Grizzlies media arm, I think, is what will end up carrying these games.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more. But we got a lot of basketball coming up. We got a lot of weekend stuff coming up. Before we talk again,
Rusty, we have 3 games before we talk to these folks again on their Tuesday lunch break. They will start tomorrow night in a home game against the New York Knicks. We get a chance to kind of rehab what was probably the ugliest loss of the year.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll be in the building for that. I'm excited to see the Knicks play. It's the last of my season pass game, so I'm super stoked to be there for that one. Get to watch a great Knicks team. Hopefully we'll get some revenge, but the Knicks are reeling, man. They're not what they once were. They're 0-7 against the top part of their conference. They're not as great as we thought they were, but they're still 38-20 and a good basketball team who can clearly jump up and bite us, as we have seen recently. We're both 6-4 in our last 10. They're 17-10 away from Madison Square Garden. We typically play better at home, like most teams do. We're 22-6 at the Forum this year. As of right now, let's see. I'm trying to see the Knicks. It's not giving me an odds here. I'll take a look and see what I can find, but yeah. I like our chances to get revenge tomorrow night in the Forum because we're a different team than when we played them last time.
Yeah, I think that it's a good matchup, and this is two teams that have something to prove. I think that the Knicks, it's fair to say, are like the Eastern Conference version of the Grizzlies. They're really high in the standings, but they haven't beat any good teams in their own conference. That's the same talking points that the New York media is having about the Knicks right now. And so the Grizzlies can come home, second game of a 5-game homestand against the Knicks and really kind of course correct, can continue this hot streak going. You played valiantly on the road against Cleveland. You came home and had an absolute barn burner of a win against the Phoenix Suns. And now I want to see you do it again. I want to see it continue. I said on Tuesday's show that you've seen the Grizzlies bounce back from bad losses and win. We talked about that, about going into the Orlando game. We've seen this team have a bad loss like against Indiana, and you've seen them come back the next game and win against Orlando. So now I want to see them have an exciting, nail-biting playoff environment win, and then go follow that up with another impressive performance. And if Ja plays, I believe this makes 5 straight games that Ja's played for the first time in 2 years.
Knock on wood. We're going to hope that continues. The Grizzlies are a 66% favorite on ESPN, but I can't find a line for the game anywhere yet. But it is a home game and again, we typically play better home. Got some revenge. We're playing better basketball than we were then, so hopefully we can get that win tomorrow night on the first leg of a back-to-back, because Saturday night we host the aforementioned San Antonio Spurs. They come to the FedEx Forum on Saturday. We have had their number all year, but it is very difficult to beat a team 4 times. So we've beat them 3 times so far. 129-115, 140-112, and 128-109.
Yeah, none of them have been very close.
Very competitive at all. And Stephon Castle's played somewhat well in those games. No Wemby. It's a different team now. I look for the Grizzlies to win this one, pulling away as well.
Yeah, the Spurs have won only 3 of their last 10 and they're on a 4-game losing streak currently. So you project that forward. This game, the only thing snag that I can see the Grizzlies hitting is if they decide to rest some guys. Yeah. They started after the All-Star break with 3 games in 4 days. Now you've got a couple days off before New York, and then 1 day off and then the next day having the second half of back-to-back against San Antonio, and then 1 day off until Atlanta. So I could foresee this being a game that Ja or Vince or some of these guys that's dealt with nagging injuries just kind of take off.
Oh yeah, I can see that. If not then for sure Monday, because we'll talk about this game on Tuesday. But Oklahoma City is looming on Wednesday, March the 5th. It's coming up. So we got a lot of Grizzly basketball over the weekend. 3 very winnable games. The Knicks game is going to be tough. I'm not saying chalk that one up as a win, but it's a home game. We're basically the same team. It should be, of the 3, that's the one that should be the best game. We should win the other 2 pretty easily. Whether or not we're at full strength, we should beat the Spurs and the Hawks.
Yeah, we will be big favorites in both of those games for sure.
Yep, for sure.
So just hold serve. You've got a 1-game winning streak right now. Let's go make it 2 tomorrow night. And because you've got 5 games here that where, I mean, you've got Knicks, and then after Knicks, you've talked about it. Spurs, Hawks, OKC, we're going to take that one out. But then Dallas, New Orleans, and Phoenix again. You've got a real opportunity here to go on a run, get out of, and really kind of force Denver to stay hot in that race for the second.
Yep, exactly. And so we're dead even tied, 9 games out of first place with the Nuggets right now. Both of us are 38-20. It's an opportunity to make up some ground. But Drew, basketball's not the only thing we got going on in our lives. What else are you doing this weekend?
Big weekend in the Gann household. We've got 2 birthdays this weekend. My youngest son will turn 1 on Saturday, and the oldest son, BB, will turn 8 on Monday. So we're having a birthday party at the house. Casa de Gann birthday party at 1 o'clock on Saturday. Anybody wants to come, you just holler at me. Daniel, you want to come over? Wayno, you want to come across the pond to a 1-year-old/8-year-old birthday party? You are welcome. Astronomo, I'm not sure about you yet. We may need to wait till the next birthday comes around.
Wait till it's a public birthday.
Yeah.
A public party. A public park.
Wait till we have one at the park. That way we can, I don't have to worry about anybody breaking anything. So,
exactly.
So that's what's going on in our house. We may or may not go to Oxford, Mississippi to see a baseball game on Sunday. TBD on that one. But lots of irons in the fire. And if anybody knows, if you've hosted or put on a birthday party for a child, it is extremely stressful. It shouldn't be this way, but for some reason it is. And we're hosting it in our home, and so my wife is like very much we have to clean everything. The underside of the toilet bowls. I mean, things that we're not even seeing. We're cleaning.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. DG's not gonna be able to make it. Unfortunately, he has to wash his shoes. I have to take my fish for a walk, so it is what it is. So sorry, man.
And I told Rusty before the show, I told him by the party, and I was like, I'm not gonna hold it against you if you don't come, because my rule for kids' birthday parties is that the father of a friend or a family member that is attending the party is never required. No, I don't want to be asked to go to a little kid's birthday party. There's really only like 3 or 4 children in which I will willingly go to their birthday party. And so there is no hard feelings if they don't come to my kids' birthday parties.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, for me, Maggie and I got the MVP party tonight down at the FedEx Forum. Yep, we'll be hanging with the Grizzlies, with the players. The roster is going to be there, hanging out, photo ops, autographs, hanging with the team for a little bit. I'm super stoked about that. Wayno, don't worry. I'm gonna chop up Santi a little bit and see, let him know that he is your favorite player from across the pond. But excited to kind of hang with the team today. It's going to be awesome. And then we're going to the Knicks game tomorrow night. We do unfortunately have plans Saturday. Unfortunately for the birthday party for you, Maggie's mom's birthday is Saturday, and so we're going to go to Jackson. We're going to hang out and celebrate her birthday. And so it's going to be a good busy weekend next couple of nights, but it's going to be a fun weekend. A lot of celebrating, a lot of basketballing, and then just some rest and downtime this weekend as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, listen, we've all talked about this, but this is our opportunity to actually do it, and it's up to you, Rusty. Me and you and Daniel. I know he's in. I don't even have to. We're going to chip in. You've got to get it signed, and we'll ship it to Wayno.
Sounds good. I'm going to get a Memphis Sounds jersey. So we have the new jersey signed by Santi Aldama, and it's going to say, to Wayno, my biggest fan, Santi Aldama.
Yes. Oh, and I will pay my share. I got income tax money coming in, baby. I'm ready to spend it.
Well, that's going to do it for our show today. If you're here all the way to the bitter end, thanks for hanging out with two buffoons from North Mississippi as we talk basketball, we talk shop, we catch up. Thanks for being in the comments. Greer, DG, Wayno, Astronomo, anybody else that was here today listening, watching.
Daniel Greer and the other Greer guy who loves Zach Edey.
Yeah, so much. All the Edey tattoos. But thanks for being here, hanging with us. You know, we appreciate y'all spending your lunch breaks with us on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Just want to remind y'all to be a friend to somebody who needs a friend. And don't take what we say on here way too serious, because there are no refunds for what you hear on the $2 Sports Show.
That's right. Because with the $2, you always get what you pay for. Have a good weekend, everybody. Go Grizz.
Go Grizz.
Thank you for listening to the $2 Sports Show. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. For comprehensive coverage of all things Memphis sports, head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co and find out how you can become an insider. We will see you back here next time.